What's up, y'all? Brandon with BC Talks here, and today I have a comic book haul for y'all. I know it's been a minute since I've had a comic book haul on the channel, so for those of y'all that are here for the hauls and you've been fiending for a comic book haul, here you go. This is your video. You can finally get your fix.
You know how long I've been waiting for this?
Now, in today's video, I have some books from my local comic book shop, from the dollar bins at the local comic book shop, as well as some books from the dollar bins at a local antique mall that I've featured on the channel a few times before in the past. Now, when searching through dollar bins, y'all know I'm the dollar bin bandit. When searching through dollar bins, I try to find books that have some sort of interesting significance to them, or some little interesting tidbit of history or knowledge, or maybe some sort of minor key, because you're usually not going to find some big huge major key in the dollar bins, although I did find a couple of really interesting somewhat larger, maybe middle keys, this way mid-major keys, that I've been looking for, that I thought were really interesting, that we'll go over later in the video. I feel like I got a good variety of those sort of books from the dollar bins in this video, and I have the brown paper bag here of comic books that I picked up. So let's go over everything that I got in today's video. Before we get started, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel for more comic book and pop culture talk, and make sure you give me a follow on Whatnot. I'm a verified seller on Whatnot, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll save $10 off your first purchase if it's your first time signing up. And if you're not familiar with Whatnot, it's basically an online auction platform where you can buy all sorts of collectibles. I use it for comic books, obviously, but you can use it for anything really. Funko Pops, Pokemon cards, baseball cards, basketball cards, coins, anything you collect, you can pretty much find on there. And you can use that link to save $10 off your first purchase. And if you give me a follow, you'll get any notifications when I post books on there for sale. I'm always going through my books, finding different interesting variant covers or interesting books to put up there for sale. So make sure you give me a follow so you can stay tuned for everything that's going on Whatnot. By the way, forgive me for the lighting in today's video. I moved, and in the process of moving, I lost my lights. I don't know where they're at. I can't find them. So we still have the scuffed setup today, but once I'm done editing and posting the video, I'm going to go on Amazon and reorder those lights. So hopefully the next video or the next one after that, depending on when I post it, will have some good lighting. But let's get into the haul. As I said in the intro, I have some books here from my local comic book shop that I got from their dollar bins, and I've featured them in a dollar bin haul on the channel before. This comic book shop, they have, obviously, you can get a book for $1 from the dollar bins, or they have a deal where if you get 7 books, you get them for $5. If you get 15 books, you get them for $10, and if you get 50 books, you get them for $25, so half off. It's a pretty good deal, so I try to take advantage of that whenever I see them, restock and whatnot. So I have 15 books from there for today's haul, and I was never good at math in high school. I got like C pluses and lower in all my math classes, so I cannot tell you off the top of my head what each book comes out to.
What are you? An idiot sandwich.
But some of y'all scholars can do that for me. But the first book we have for the video is Marvel Comics presents number 95. Now, this book, I thought it was funny that I found this in the dollar bins because it's pretty topical for the moment. This is the origin of Wolverine's yellow and blue suit, which was first seen in The Incredible Hulk number 80. Now, in one of the short stories in the book, Wolverine is injured and he's being nursed back to health by a Native American tribe, and one of the nurses from the tribe, who he seems to have a thing for as well, gives him this yellow overcoat suit-looking thing, which later would become the basis for his main yellow and blue suit that we saw in Incredible Hulk number 180 that he fights the Hulk in. So again, I thought that this was pretty funny that I found this issue because obviously Deadpool and Wolverine has been out for 3 weeks now, and we've been waiting forever and ever to see Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in the iconic yellow and blue suit. And in Deadpool and Wolverine, we finally saw Wolverine in the yellow and blue suit, and it looked amazing. I think the mask at some points was a little bit off sometimes, but the suit looked great. And now I didn't post my review about Deadpool and Wolverine on the channel just because things were, so wild and crazy. And I didn't really have time. So, but I might record a review and just post it just to have it on the channel, even though it's gonna be coming up on a month since the video, since the movie's been out now. So no one will probably watch it. But I might just put it up there just to have it on the channel. But my short thoughts on the movie are that I liked it. I did have a couple of issues with it, but overall, really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really great. It doesn't really have that much consequence to the MCU moving forward. I thought it was going to have way more consequence to the MCU. It was a nice wrap up of the Fox universe, though. And I really liked the montage to the Green Day song at the end. I was watching it, and I was sitting there watching it, like, wow, now everybody is going to be doing revisionist history for the Fox Marvel movies and saying, "Oh, I always liked the Fox movies," just like people did with the prequels later on, like 20 years later. Now everybody says they love the prequels, and I know y'all did not like the prequels. I was on the internet. I saw what y'all were talking about the prequels, and I remember y'all talking about the Fox universe too. So y'all can't say you like them. I do think there are good Fox. There were some good Fox Marvel movies, but I would say that probably 70% of them were bad, and then there was 30% of them were good ones. First Class is good. I like Days of Future Past. Obviously, Logan. The first two X-Men movies I like. And then there's probably a couple maybe one or two more I'm missing, but for the most part, the rest of those movies are bad. Fantastic Four, not good. The most recent one, New Mutants, not good. The all the other ones other than First Class and Days of Future Past, not good. So yeah, but so overall, not the greatest, but it was a nice send off for the Fox Marvel universe, but it didn't really have the consequences to the MCU that I thought it was going to. Other than Wolverine and X-23 being brought into the MCU now, and Deadpool obviously as well. But yeah, that's my little mini review of Deadpool. And I thought this book again was pretty topical because we see the origins of Wolverine's blue and yellow suit in this. So that was an interesting book to get. This next one, put this down here. This next one is one of the books I was talking about in the intro, kind of the mid-major key. This is one that I've been looking for a while and just could never find anywhere. And so I saw this in the dollar bins and I was like, wow. I found, of all the places to find it, I found it in the dollar bins at my local comic book shop. And it's actually in pretty good condition for being in the dollar bin. This is the Authority number 29. I love this cover as well. One of my favorite Authority covers. This is The Marriage of Apollo and Midnighter, which is the first mainstream comic book wedding between two male superheroes. Now, this is one, again, I've been looking for a while because James Gunn, way back, if you don't follow the DC or superhero news like I do, James Gunn, obviously he's the new head of the DC studios over at Warner Brothers, along with Peter Safran, and but James Gunn's the creative head, and James Gunn announced that the Authority team is going to be in the DCU, the new DC universe, and specifically, the Authority is going to have some sort of role in the new Superman movie, which is coming out next year, and they're filming currently. So we're going to be seeing the Authority. So obviously, the Authority keys have all picked up, and I've always had, specifically Midnighter has always been really interesting to me. But Midnighter and Apollo, obviously, they're a couple, and they were originally sort of a parody on. They were supposed to be a parody on Batman and Superman basically being gay, and because a lot of people talk about the friendship between Batman and Superman. So Mark Millar kind of did a parody on that, and but so it was kind of reductive at first, but they really grew as characters as the years went on. Particularly Midnighter, I really like the growth that his character's gone through as the years have gone on, and so I'm really interested to see them in the movie, and it's going to be quite the thing for people who aren't familiar with comics to see a Superman and a Batman that are gay and married in a major movie. I'm very interested to see how people react to that don't follow comics. But yeah, this is an issue that I've been looking for a while, so it's cool to find it in the dollar bins. I think that I was thinking about this. Who are the most prominent gay characters in comics? I don't know. Maybe Apollo and Midnighter, maybe Wiccan, who's going to be in Agatha all along, which we got some trailers for this past week at D23. Wiccan is going to be coming to the MCU. Also, maybe Bobby Iceman might be, but other than them, at least in the DC universe, it's definitely Apollo and Midnighter. But yeah, so that this is an issue that I've been looking for a while, and it's actually in really good condition. They had a few authority issues in their dollar bins spread around, so I'm thinking that they probably got a collection from somebody who collected the authority. And so when I saw the first few issues of the authority, I was like, oh, I wonder if they have 29, and I finally found it. So I was really excited to find that one in the dollar bins. This next one's an interesting one. This is Danny and the Demon Cycle. This is a promotional comic book promoting bicycle safety, and it was published by Commercial Comics and distributed by the Virginia Highway Safety Division. You can see there on the bottom, the Highway Safety Division of Virginia. And obviously, I'm in Virginia now, so I didn't know until I got home and looked it up. This is actually a book. This book was published in 1955. You couldn't tell by looking at it. I mean, it is kind of in rough shape. You can see on the back there, it's kind of crumpled. The top is crumpled and has a couple rips, but the spine is intact. Um, the cover looks good. There's not really that many blemishes to the cover other than the top there. You see there's a little fraying and whatnot. But yeah, you couldn't tell. Like off first look, I probably would have said this book was from the 70s. And like if you told me it was from the 70s, I'd be like, yeah, it looks about right. This book was published in 1955, and so it's a golden age book. I don't think I have any golden age books in my collection. I might have a romance comic from Charlton Comics that's golden age. I'd have to check. But yeah, this is either the first or one of very few technically golden age comics that I have. It would be late golden age depending on who you ask, because I think the cutoff for golden age is what, 1956 or 57 depending on who you ask. So this would be late golden age. But yeah, this is going to be one of the oldest books in my collection, and it's interesting. I like to collect these promotional or propaganda type books. I have a lot of the Radio Shack books, the electronic ones I've showed on the channel before, the Teen Titans drug PSAs, stuff like that, the propaganda type books. So this one's about being safe on a bicycle. A pretty topical book for a 1955. You wouldn't see a promotional book coming out for this today. Maybe the version of this today would be about being safe in a self-driving Tesla. But yeah, this is a pretty cool book to find in the dollar bin. And, for being in the dollar bin and for being from 1955, other than the back there at the top, it's in really good condition. So that was a cool find, and that will go in my little collection of propaganda and promotional books. This next one here is we're going to go from the Golden Age and swing back to today. This one came out just like a few months ago. This is Trinity Special #1. This is the first solo title featuring Trinity, who is the daughter of Wonder Woman. This is a collection of stories featuring Trinity, who I did a couple of videos on way back when she was first announced. You can find on the channel. She's one of the newest characters in the DC Comics. Obviously, again, I said she's the daughter of Wonder Woman. And if you're not familiar, Trinity, obviously that's her in the middle. She was essentially raised by Damian Wayne and John Kent, who are on the cover as well. That is John Kent, Superman, and Damian Wayne as Batman. And of course, Damian Wayne and John Kent were in the very popular and well-acclaimed Super Sons series, which is one of my favorite newer series from DC Comics. I love the Super Sons, and I was sad when they aged up John Kent and kept Damian the same age. I thought that they should have kept them younger, but I do like this older version, even more older, more aged up than how they aged up John. This is like they're kind of adults, and they've assumed the roles of their fathers. I guess they are their fathers, but so they're kind of older, They're kind of men now, and they took on to taking in Wonder Woman's daughter, who is not that age in when they are raising her. She's like a little kid. You can see here. She's like a little kid, and so they're a little bit older, and but yeah, it makes for an interesting dynamic because John Kent and Damian Wayne. The reason why I love the Super Son series so much was their dynamic. John Kent's kind of the happy-go-lucky guy, and then Damian is the curmudgeonly little brat. So it's interesting to see both of them raising this younger sister from Wonder Woman that they have here. And so there's some really interesting and funny stories in this, and this is a collection of them from Tom King's Wonder Woman series, which is a pretty good series. You should read it. And also Daniel Sempre. I don't know how you say his last name. Is it Sempre or Sempere? Sampere, maybe. But he has some of the best Wonder Woman art I've seen in years. I really love his art in the Wonder Woman series. It's some of my favorite Wonder Woman art. So yeah, that is Trinity Special #1. The next book, this is another interesting one. This is Green Lantern #54. It's still in the plastic. Let me take it out. This is Green Lantern #54. This one is the death of Alex DeWitt, and it's actually a controversial issue. There is a villain named Major Force who murders and dismembers Kyle Rayner's girlfriend. Obviously, Kyle Rayner is the Green Lantern that took over after Hal Jordan went evil and became Parallax. Then Kyle Rayner became the Green Lantern for Earth. So this is after that Parallax, Emerald Dawn storyline. So Kyle Rayner's girlfriend, Alexandra DeWitt, gets murdered by Major Force. He dismembers her and hides her remains in a refrigerator for her to find. Now, this issue is interesting because if you've ever heard the term fridging, this is the issue and the story that that term was birthed out of. And now, for those of you that aren't familiar, fridging is a literary trope that was coined by the comic book writer Gail Simone. And it is when a woman, usually a significant other of the main hero or protagonist, is abruptly and often brutally killed and murdered or harmed as a plot device to motivate the main male hero. So it happened all the time back in this was from the 90s and the early 2000s. It doesn't happen so much these days because it's a literary trope, and it's one that people try to avoid. Spoilers for The Last of Us. If you're not familiar with the story of The Last of Us, if you are, you know what I'm about to say. Go away if you're not familiar with The Last of Us, because Last of Us season 2 is coming up.
Spoiler!
But in The Last of Us 2 in the game, I guess they did kind of fridge Joel because they had him brutally killed and bashed to death with a golf club at the very beginning of that game to motivate Ellie. So yeah, that was. I just thought about that while talking here. That was fridging, but the male version. But yeah, that's what fridging is when and that came from this specific comic book. So that's an interesting book to pick up from the dollar bins. This next one is Secret Origins #46. This is the first appearance of Arm Fall Off Boy. And of course, we saw Arm Fall Off Boy in the live action James Gunn's Suicide Squad remake. And he was played by Nathan Fillion, who of course is going to be playing Guy Gardner in James Gunn's Superman movie and the DCU. And he died a brutal death in the Suicide Squad. It was pretty funny, but it was pretty brutal as well. So this is his first appearance, Arm Fall Off Boy. This next one is Young All Stars #6. This is the first appearance of Paula Brooks as Tigress, who was formerly Huntress in the Golden Age. Obviously, the current Huntress is Helena Bertolini and Helena Wayne, the alternate universe one. But back in the Golden Age, when Huntress first appeared, it was Paula Brooks, and then in the this is from 1987, so this would be the Bronze Age. she became Paula Brooks became Tigress. So a little switch there of characters that happens sometimes. This next one is Superman number 2. This is from the second Superman series, the John Byrne series, which a lot of people really like. I like the John Byrne series as well. This is the first appearance of Amanda Coy, who is a woman who discovered Superman's secret identity. And this one actually is interesting because Amanda Coy was cast in the Superman and Lois show by Yvonne. She's going to be played by Yvonne Chapman. So this character is going to be. We're going to see this character in live action in the Superman and Lois show, which this upcoming season is going to be the last season. I've only watched season 1. I need to catch up, but it's a really good show if you are a Superman fan. Even if you're not, I would say Superman and Lois, and then My Adventures with Superman, which is the animated show. I really love that show. Those two shows, if you aren't familiar with Superman and you think he's just a big blue Boy Scout and isn't interesting at all, watch those two shows. You can see how interesting Superman can be when he's written well. And I really think James Gunn's going to do a great job of Superman as well. If you're a Superman fan, you've been eating these past few years between Superman and Lois, My Adventures with Superman, some of the other animated things as well, and then now the Superman movie is going to come from James Gunn. So Superman fans are up right now. But this next book is Excalibur, Mojo Mayhem, and this is a square bound, so it's kind of like a graphic novel, kind of. They call them square bounds, and this is the Mojo Mayhem story where Mojo turns the X-Men into babies. Now we've seen Mojo in both the X-Men animated series, the original one, and in the newest season of the X-Men '97 that came out a few months ago. Excuse me. And I can't recall if they did X Babies in the original X-Men animated series. I don't think they did. Mojo was in the series, but I don't think that they did X Babies. So X Babies could be something that we could see in a upcoming future season of X-Men '97. But it's just a funny, dumb little story. I might save this on. I didn't see Mojo's on the back there as well. I might save this and use it as like a giveaway at some point in the future. Just like how I gave away that Hulk 180, 181 square bound summary book thing from a while back for the I think it was the 500 subscriber giveaway. This next one is another Excalibur. This is Excalibur number 31. These ones were in bags and boards. This is Excalibur number 31. This is the first appearance of Vega Superior, who is the son of Krakoa. So that is a little minor key. This next one is another Excalibur. It's Excalibur number 47. This is the first full appearance of Circe. Or sorry, not Circe, Cerise, who is a deserter of the Shi'ar Empire. And obviously, the Shi'ar Empire is the race of those bird people, which if you watched X-Men '97 or at the very end of the X-Men animated series, the Shi'ar are the ones that took Xavier, Professor X, when he died. They took him and nursed him back to health on the Shi'ar homeworld. So we saw in the Shi'ar in the latest X-Men '97 season that the Shi'ar kind of had a thing going on. He had a thing with Lilandra going on, so that was interesting. So that is one of the characters related to the Shi'ar Empire. This next one is Star Trek: The Next Generation 3. This one is not a key. I just got it for my mom because it's if you watched a couple videos back, she likes Star Trek: The Next Generation, so I got this for her. It's got Picard on the cover. I like Picard too. I kept a couple of the Star Trek ones that I said I was going to give to her, just because I like the covers. This one is kind of glossy. It looks kind of weird, but I do like the cover with Picard on there. You know, Picard is goated. This next one, and the show I've heard, I haven't watched it yet, because I watched the first season of Picard, and it wasn't that great, so it put me off for the second season. I didn't watch it, but I've heard that the third season is really good, so maybe I need to pick that back up. I'll just pick it up from the third season. But this next one is Green Lantern number 25. This one is not a key. It is just a fun issue where Guy Gardner and Hal Jordan fight to decide who's going to be the Green Lantern for Earth. And this is Justice League International adjacent because it came out in 1992 at the height of the Justice League International popularity, and it was written by Gerard Jones, who later he would go on to write that series after Giffen and DeMatteis left, and then Dan Jurgens picked it up, and then a couple other people picked it up for a couple issues, and then he picked it up for a few issues. Gerard Jones. So this is kind of from that Bwahaha era of the Justice League that I know some people don't like. I really love the Bwahaha era, and it seems like James Gunn might be leaning into that with the DCU, which personally I like. I know some people don't like that, but it's just a really fun era of the Justice League, and I think after how the DC universe has been under Warner Brothers in the past. It's been really more darker and serious. I think we need the Bwahaha to come back. It needs to be a little bit more light. It can still be dark, obviously. There's going to be Batman and other dark themes, but, you know, that there were still darker themes in the Giffen and DeMatteis series. There was still some pretty dark stuff in that series, but overall it did have a lighthearted tone. This next one is Guardians of the Galaxy number 27. This is not a key. It's a floating heads cover. Y'all know I love floating heads covers, so that'll go in the floating heads covers collection. But this is not a key. I just got it for my collection because I am very casually collecting the 90s Guardians of the Galaxy series. I started the collection a little bit after Guardians 2 came out, and I'm only like halfway through the series, which that tells you just how casually I'm collecting it. I'm not really seeking it out. Just when I see issues, if I don't have it, I'll pick it up. But I'm not like actively seeking them out like I do with the Marv Wolfman Teen Titans series or the Giffen and DeMatteis Justice League series. And speaking of Giffen and DeMatteis Justice League, we'll round off the LCS pickups with a Giffen and DeMatteis Justice League issue. This is Justice League Europe number 9. Again, it's not a key. It's just for my Giffen and DeMatteis Justice League collection. So we will finish the LCS portion of the video with those books, and we'll move on to the Antique Mall. So these are the books from the local antique mall, which I've shown that antique mall on the channel before. There they have like almost 100, maybe even more than 100 dollar bins, long boxes of dollar bin books, and so it's a little bit daunting to go there and to dig through all that. I know there's some gems in there. I've found some interesting books before, but I know that there are some really big keys in there somewhere. It's just so much to dig through. But I have 5 today. They have a deal where if you buy 5, they're $5. Normally they're $1.25, so not quite dollar bin, $1.25 bin. But if you get 5 of them, you get them for $1. So I have 5 here, and they're all Avengers books. This first one is Avengers 260. I like this cover. Technically, it's a floating head cover, maybe a transparent head. This is the first cover appearance of Nebula and the origin of Nebula, the granddaughter of Thanos. Obviously, Nebula, we saw her in the MCU played by Karen Gillan, and Nebula's character arc in the MCU is one of my favorites in the entire MCU, her character development. I really like what James Gunn did with her character and how she started off, how she develops, and then how she ends in Guardians 3. I really love what he did with her character. It's one of my favorite character arcs in the entire MCU, not just the Guardians. And I thought James Gunn did a really great job with her, which is what makes me even more excited for him doing Superman and the DCU. He really characters that he loves and he pours into, he really understands them and develops them really well. So I think that Superman is in good hands. For those of y'all that are Snyder heads, or those of y'all that are a little bit trepidatious about the new Superman remake or reboot, I think Superman's in good hands. But this is Nebula, and the cameo, or excuse me, the cover appearance is her transparent head there. So does that count as a cover appearance? It's just her head, and it's like in the back, or I guess the foreground transparent. So yeah, they count that as the first cover appearance. Very interesting. This next one is Avengers 262. This is another character we've seen in the MCU. This is when Namor, who is on the cover there fighting Hercules, this is when Namor joins the Avengers, and he was nominated by Captain America. It is also the origin, they retell the origin of Captain America from Avengers number 4, where it's revealed that Namor actually caused Steve Rogers to drift into warmer waters, which of course caused the ice that was encapsulating him to melt. So basically, they said that Namor pushed Steve into the warmer waters, and that's what made him melt. So Steve is kind of in debt to Namor for melting him out the ice and bringing him back to the land of the living. So this is an interesting issue, and obviously, we've seen Namor in the MCU. He was in Black Panther 2, the villain of Black Panther 2. And although I don't know what's going on with him moving forward, of course, he was played by Tanakh Huerta. But Tanakh Huerta, one of his girlfriends, who's a magician, one of his past girlfriends, accused him of being a sexual predator and some other sexual misconduct. So we don't really know what's going on with Tanakh Huerta. He did deny the allegations, and as far as I'm aware, it's only been allegations. She hasn't taken him to court. So this is different than the Jonathan Majors situation. The Jonathan Majors situation, we had video, we had police reports. It was a specific incident, and he was convicted for that. But Tanaka Huerta is just allegations and hearsay. I don't think she's actually taking him to court. She's just talking. So it is probably not going to result in anything unless she does get some evidence and take him to court, or some video comes out or something. So that is probably not going to end up like the Jonathan Major situation. So as of now, I think he's still going to be Namor. But we'll see in the future if anything else comes out from that. This next one is Avengers 289. This is the first appearance of Kubik, who is the humanoid version of the Cosmic Cube. Now, of course, the Cosmic Cube is what they call the Tesseract in the MCU. It's called the Cosmic Cube in the Marvel Comics, but in the MCU, they changed the name to the Tesseract. And the Tesseract has had a pretty wild story in the MCU. The Tesseract has been everywhere. And so I don't think they're going to do this character in the MCU probably. Also, it might feel a little bit reductive because we already have a character that was made human by a stone. Yeah, by a stone. Obviously that's Vision. He had the Soul Stone put in his head and he became human. So if they made the Cosmic Cube or the Tesseract into a humanoid character, an android character, people would probably be like, this is just Vision. So they're probably not going to do this character, but it's an interesting little minor key for the Avengers. This next one is Avengers 314. This is Nebula obtains a powerful device that can eliminate the universe, and also Circe joins the Avengers. And now this is another character we've seen in the MCU, Circe. She obviously was in the Eternals movie, which we actually just got news a couple days ago. It's being reported that the Marvel Studios is scrapping the Eternals 2. So they're not going to do the Eternals 2 anymore. But I still think that we're probably going to see Circe in the MCU. At the very least, she'll be in Secret Wars, the Secret Wars arc. And if not, I think she will be, but at the very least, she'll be in the Secret Wars arc. But I think that we could probably see her in a couple other things along the way as a supporting character. I think she could be an interesting character if she's just written a little bit better. I think that she was played by Gemma Chan, who's a really good actress. I think she just didn't have a lot to work with. Nobody did in that movie really, other than Druig and what's the speedster's name? Her name is blanking on me, but those two I really liked. I also did like Fastos as well. Fastos could add a little bit more, but overall, what he did good with what he had. Brian David Tyree or David Brian Tyree. I always forget how the order of the names. He has three first names, kind of like me. But he goes by all three, and I always forget the order. But he's a good actor as well, and I thought he did good with what he had. Kumail Nanjiani, he kind of was caricature a little bit, but and then also I thought Angelina Jolie did well as well in her role. Actually, all the actors do well with what they were given, but I think that the bones of the movie the bones are good, but there's not a lot of meat for that movie. But so they're not gonna make a second one, so I guess it doesn't matter. But the Eternals is a little bit overhated. I think it's fine. It's okay. It's not the best MCU movie, but it's definitely not the worst one. I don't think. I have to go back. I think that Thor: The Dark World is a little bit worse, and maybe the Marvels. Although I do like the Marvels. The Marvels is fun to me, But overall, I think the Marvels might be worse than the Eternals. This next one is Avengers 364. This one is the first full appearance of Deathcry, who is a Shi'ar alien, and she is Lalandra's niece. So another Shi'ar here. Again, the Shi'ar, as I said before from that other issue, they are the alien bird race that we saw in X-Men the animated series and X-Men 97 this last season. And Lalandra, she's the one that shacked up with Professor X. So this is her in this issue. This is the first appearance of her niece. So that is an interesting little minor key there. We could possibly see her in X-Men 97 since they have established the Shi'ar and Lalandra as well. Lalandra's probably going to be wanting to come back for her man. And then this last one here we have, this is actually Avengers Spotlight. So still an Avengers book, but it's Avengers Spotlight, not the main Avengers series. This is the first appearance of Xenophobic Man, who is a former Border Patrol agent who developed a deadly hatred against anyone wanting to cross into the U.S. So this guy might be liked by some people today, by some certain politicians these days.
His big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now.
What did he say?
Xenophobic Man. I don't think that they will ever see this character in the MCU. And also, I got this character, this issue, because I really like the cover as well, with U.S. Agent on the cover. Now, although they are making the Thunderbolts movie and U.S. Agent is going to be in that movie, and then there's also the upcoming Captain America movie, I would think that he would probably have some sort of cameo in that, if not a small role in that movie. So it is a U.S. Agent adjacent character, and I don't know if they definitely would not call him Xenophobic Man if he did appear in the MCU, but I think it would be a good way to make a sort of commentary if you wanted to make political commentary. Marvel is sometimes a bit hollow with their political commentary, but if they wanted to make some really deep political commentary, he would be a good character to use for that. You just probably couldn't call him Xenophobic Man because that's a little bit on the nose. That'd be like a character that they put in the latest season of The Boys. They would literally call him Xenophobic Man. He would actually fit really well on The Boys. He'd be a very interesting character. But maybe for Marvel, not so much. And that is going to do it for today's video. A lot of interesting minor keys or interesting books that I got in today's haul. I thought there was a good variety of all sorts of types of books, and for $1 you can't beat that. Always, when you're digging through your dollar bins, look out for any interesting little tidbits or notes that you might find on a book when you're looking it up. I love those types of books, especially for $1. But let me know down in the comments below what you thought of today's haul. Make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more comic book and pop culture talk, and I will see y'all another day.